You're listening to Mature Allure. Here, we chat about self care, relationships, careers, and all the things living a mature life includes. I'm your host, Sherri O. Welcome.
Get out the way. Who got a watch? Who got the time? I'm racing the clock. Even in my feelings, grind don't stop. Got big.
Hi, Marlene.
Hi,
Welcome to
Sherry.
Mature Allure.
Thank you so much for having me. Again, just thank you for sharing your platform with me and just allowing me to have this opportunity. I always feel good about, sharing stories and being able to talk to like minds. I just love it. So I appreciate that so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, everyone, we are talking to Marlene Duperley.
Yes,
Am I
Duperley.
saying it correctly?
Duperley, but it's good. It's
Duperley.
good. Yes.
Okay, Duperley, she is a creative director and NYC fashion stylist. I'm sure you do styling everywhere, but
Yes.
you know
Yes.
you're located in New York City, right?
Yes. Born and raised, actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So I saw you on or I see you on Instagram and your style is so awesome. Like
Thank
the
you.
way you put clothes together, the way you shine when you're out and about in
Oh,
them. So I really just wanted to have you on Mature Allure to kind of talk about your style and how women, especially mature women, women over
mm-hmm.
40, can
Yep.
kind of like incorporate some unique, stylish looks in their wardrobe. So,
Absolutely.
if we can start with you introducing yourself, that would be great.
Absolutely. So, hello, Mature Laura. Thank you, Sherry, for having me. My name is Marlene Duperley, and I'm a fashion stylist, designer. I just added to my repertoire, which I'm like really excited about. It's been a long time coming, but I can add that now. And I'm a creative director. So, with creative direction, I do a lot of photo shoots and videos and things like that, where we actually put the story together and have this frame of what we want this outcome to be for the shoot, for the model, for everybody involved, for the brand, of course. So basically, that's what I do, and it's been a passion of mine since I probably can remember. like, like it's just been forever. So I'm excited that I get to do what I love every day.
Well, that's awesome. I mean, like I said, I saw you. I love your sense of style. Like, how do you develop it? Like, how did you develop your, like, I'm looking at you right now and I'm loving what you got going on.
Thank
Like,
you, thank you, Shopakera. That's
ah,
like totally inexpensive, but like affordable, something that you can just throw on. I have some cargo jeans on, but to answer the question, it really was just over time. You know, you always, I know for me, I always was very stylish and loved fashion from, like I said, like even from being a very small child, I remember being very opinionated about what I wanted to wear and what this needed to look like. And, you don't know then, but that's really like a little sounding board that's like, this might be something you're going to do in your future. It was just tough to kind of navigate how I was going to do that. So I took a lot of different roads to get there. And once I got here, I really felt at home. So it became me just really being authentic to who I was. I gravitated naturally to colors and patterns. And even if it wasn't a color or a pattern, maybe it was a texture or just something that um, kind of was an energy thing. Like it was very energetic for me. And I always felt like style, fashion, the things I put on, it would give you an idea of who I was without me saying anything. You would look at me and just know, okay, this person may be about this or that, creatively. And then when we have a conversation, it kind of aligns. So that's where my fashion kind of lines up with my spirit.
I remember reading an article about you,
Yes.
and it mentioned street style and
Yes.
streetwear. And when it said that, and now, all the pictures I see, videos, you are on the street looking amazing. And I was like, oh yeah, okay, I can kind of see this. If you could define street style for us and
Yes, and
streetwear.
I love. Thank you for asking. I love that. When I saw, I was like, I love this question so much. The street style is, to me, it's authentic. It's born from necessity. Like what I know, like growing up in the hood, and we say the hood, but I grew up in. I was born in Brooklyn. I grew up in Queens. As a young adult, we moved, well, young teenager, we moved to Long Island, and then I moved back to Brooklyn as a young adult. And it was always about, we didn't have as much as maybe other people had, but we were always very creative and we did things out of necessity. So a style was born that was authentic to our creativity. And you would see it, hip hop was very influential in that. And also, when I say necessity, it's like when you talk about street style and you see like the oversized and the baggy jeans and the oversized shirts and things like that, that really came from, I have to borrow my sister's or take my sister's clothes. It might be a little big, but because we're so ingenious, like we knew we can do something with this, we can make it a style. So I really feel like street style is authentic to exactly where we come from and our situations and how we evolve out of that.
Well, with that, I mean, what's the strategy behind your unique style? Like how you're putting your looks together? What are you thinking about? And I know people dress when you put on your outfits, it's a mood.
Yes.
It's a feeling, for the most part, for everyone. But because your style is so unique and it's unique and works. Sometimes you see stuff, you're like, okay, that is not working. I know it's attitude, but that's
Right.
not working. But
Right.
yours is unique and it works. So how do you come up with the strategy behind your looks?
Well, I think the first thing you said is definitely it. It's definitely starts with mood because there are some things, and I think a lot of people can attest to this. It's like for me, I'll put together something first in my head, and I'm like, yeah, that looks great in my head. And then I'll put it on, and I'll be like, that didn't look like, it's not working. That didn't look like, but and I would say also, I have to have some level of comfortability. So if
Mm-hmm.
and I don't like to feel like I'm sucked all the way in. I understand that there are times that call for that. I get it, but on a regular, I don't like to feel that way. So there has to be some level of comfortability within the style.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I love even platform shoes because they tend to be a little more comfortable than like having your foot, like that. I
Uh-huh.
will wear them, but this the occasion. But
And when the case is over,
yes,
they're off.
right, right, straight to the car and then but yeah, I really tend to go with how I'm feeling, and like I said, it kind of it's funny because it developed over time, but I always remember kind of catching onto a trend before it became a trend. So
Mm.
I would like it could be in color, it could be in like maybe a certain pair of pants or jacket or whatever it is, a dress, and I would start to wear or put those things together, and then all of a sudden it would become trending. And that was something I was doing very early on, and I was like, oh wow, that's a part of my style. Okay. So
Mhm.
I would just say it just over time it became a little easier to be like okay and be confident, this like
Yeah.
I'll throw this on and I have a t-shirt on, so
Yeah.
it's like I'm okay with wearing that, I'm confident, and when I feel like you're feeling that fully, then you can really probably get away with a little more and people are
Yeah.
like okay, I see that,
And it represents
right,
yeah.
exactly.
So what tips would you give someone who has like this budget friendly wardrobe, like how they can make it chic, sophisticated, and them?
Right. I think budget friendly is amazing. And there's a lot of different ways to get to budget friendly. Like
Mhm.
always look for the sales, always I love to shop vintage and I love to shop thrift. And
Mhm.
like here's a really good tip. Like wherever you are as far as thrifting, go to the wealthiest neighborhoods because you will find a find. Like you
Yeah.
will totally find a find. Go to Saks Off Fifth, do the Nordstrom racks, do the Marshalls and the Targets, and also like the fast fashion, which is like the Zaras and the H&Ms and stuff like that, and add those pieces to your wardrobe. But if you can find classic pieces within that, because what
Yeah.
you're also looking for is fabrication. You want to make sure like it fits well and the fabric is good. Once you
Mhm.
have a quality fabric, it's you can make anything look expensive, feel expensive, and nobody has to know how much something costs, you know.
Yeah.
So once that fit is there and the fabric feels good, you know, then you can add those essentials to your wardrobe, you know, and then you'll feel good about what you're putting on.
Yeah, and I know when you said like go to Nordstrom's Rack and off Fifth,
Yeah.
off Sac, whatever that is, which I love
Yes.
that store.
Yeah.
I used to work for Nordstrom, and we sent clothes over to Nordstrom Rack. So I mean,
Absolutely.
once either they were out of season or it was something that wasn't really selling, and we
Yes.
sent the clothes. Okay, that goes to Nordstrom Rack. So it's not like you're not getting Nordstrom clothing.
No,
You're
and
getting.
you're getting it at such a great deal. And another thing, especially I'm not sure about a lot of other places. I know probably LA, but in New York they have a ton of sample sales. So you can
Mm,
go to a sample sale and you can do really well, you know, and you can get really high end clothing for really good prices. And sometimes with the higher end, I get it because it really is the quality, again, going back to like the quality of the material, the fabric, the cut, how it fits. But again, you can find that also in a vintage shop. So
yeah.
it's kind of mixing and matching those different ways to shop and add that to your wardrobe.
Well, reversely, what about people who that's all they have in their closet is high end? I mean, that's not me, but there are
Me
people
either.
who they believe in a label and a brand, and and it doesn't always like. How do you make that work?
I mean, unfortunately, I'm gonna tell you a little story really quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I put up a post purposely on Instagram, and I have a vintage Oscar de la Renta, like one of those really big like tulle skirts. I love it, but it's totally vintage. Got it at one of like the thrift vintage shops. And so I saw, I was like, oh my God, this is such a find. So I had that, and I had a Christian Dior scarf. I had Gucci sunglasses, a Fendi bag, um, some kind of like, I don't know if it was like red bottoms or Louis something, but I had like everything was a name brand. I did it purposely. I was gonna bring all these name brands together. They're gonna be, whether they're gonna be vintage or new. And I just put it up, and I was like, oh, my story's coming soon. Here are the pieces I'm gonna do. And I shot all the labels out. 16,000 views later,
Wow.
hundreds of and I said, wow, um, I don't have that many followers. So to get 16,000 views, it's like everybody was, I'm like, so there really is something about labels that are attractive to the masses.
Mm-hmm.
And I get it, I understand, but when you're talking about quality, when you go for labels, the quality is really the highest level. You're paying a premium price. There's a lot of labels that are just like mediocre and the quality is not even there.
Yeah.
So I would say you can walk out and look fashionable with labels because it could be trending, but I don't know if that's really style. You know, I think it's something that you're born with, you know, something that you create over time because it's innate and it just grows with you. Just putting together labels, um, I think that's more of maybe I can get a lot of views today or something, you know, just be
Yeah.
going along with the trend. And I hope I'm not offending people by saying that, but it's just like when you come from a really passionate place about fashion, you're not so stuck on the labels. You know, you love them, you love
Yeah.
what looks nice, but it doesn't always have to be that.
Well, this is like a side question, like, because when we were just talking about the labels, I
Hmm.
remember growing up, I did like a lot of labels, and I
Hmm.
don't know if this is necessarily something that was true, because my mother would sometimes just make stuff up. She would say things, but like she would say with the labels, the higher end labels, the more expensive it is, the larger the sizing. By that I mean, let's just say an 8, a size 8,
Right,
you're really maybe a 10. You know
right.
what I'm saying? Versus even though on shows and fashion shows and things like that, of course, the models are more petite and
Yes,
slimmer and for fitting and for showcasing. But she's like, you can fool yourself into thinking you're an 8 when really you might be a 10 pushing a 12, but you're paying for the fabric, you're paying for that fit, you're paying
yes.
for, is that true?
I think it's true in both ways because
Okay.
I think, and I hope I get corrected if I'm wrong, but I feel like that changed over time. I think it was they really catered to smaller sizing, and a lot of things only went up, like a lot of designers and labels only went up to like maybe the largest of 14, maybe a
Mm-hmm.
16 at most, which is
Mm-hmm.
crazy because the average size is like a 14, 16, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
um I think now, because they see that there's a huge market for the average woman out here, meaning like the average size, um I think that's changed, and where they've changed the way that they size things. So by bringing in proper fit models to be able to say, okay, this is actually a 14, or we're
Okay.
going to make this be like a 14, 16. So I think they change in that way and I think that's better, actually, in
Yeah.
the sense of giving more women more options.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So what impact has being overseas, because
Mm.
you've traveled a lot, like
Mhm.
what impact has that had on your style and actually how you work with others?
Yeah, I really, it's amazing to be able to do that and to travel like that. And one of the things that I noticed is we're not too far away, as far as how what fashion is like here and in different places. Like, for
Hmm.
example, when I was in France, I was in the south of France in Nice, and it was during like the Cannes Festival. And that was an amazing time to be there because you get an influx from everywhere. So people
Mm.
like coming into that one particular place from a lot of different countries and just different cities within France. And I was like, this is amazing because I'm getting to see what I don't normally see, you
Hmm.
know. And what I saw with women in particular, it was very chic, very flirty, um, sensual but covered. So I
Mm.
didn't see like a lot of skin, but it was so sexy. Like women were really sexy, but they weren't like, it wasn't like everything was just out. And there were times that you did see that, but there was also just a way that you saw how people were carrying themselves, and I was like, wow, that's pretty interesting. But they didn't push the envelope like we do. So
Ah.
there, and I didn't see that in different travels. Like, I think maybe London, there's is a different aesthetic where they really push the envelope with fashion. But I think still New York is one of those places that it really is, people are kind of watching to see what's going to be next, like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, when you're styling others
Hmm.
and when you're working with others, what is it you tap into to get the look? Well, really, I guess to get the look that you're trying to achieve for them, but to also make it so it is them. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Right. I think first and foremost is the conversation, right? So we sit down and we have a really thorough conversation about what their goals are and what they're trying to achieve, whether it be a photo shoot or maybe a video or whatever it is. Sometimes it's even just, someone wants to shoot something for their birthday. They have a special birthday coming up. All that is so important. But it's really about tapping into what it is they want. And once for me, once I start like talking and communicating with them, I can get right away a kind of sense of this person might be willing to try something
Hmm.
different.
Hmm.
I can tell that they have their style and they're not budging. You know what I mean? And you
Yeah.
run and you run into that, and that's when you have to realize, like, your style doesn't come into play. It doesn't matter what you love to wear or what you do. You have to do exactly what the client wants. Fortunately enough for me, I've had so many clients that have been really open to, like, oh, I would love to do that. I'll try that. And then it ends up being beautiful. So it's really the conversation and what their goals are. And if they're not willing to budge and they have a specific look or looks that they want, and that's what the shoot is, that's what we get. That's, yeah.
But you know what, like you said, you have clients that are, most have been willing to budge,
Hmm.
I think because of how you represent your style. You
Oh,
know what I mean? They
yeah.
see it. It's like, okay, she's comfortable, love how she looks. Maybe I can be that way too with what she,
Yes.
puts on me. So I could see that because, girl, you could put me in anything. I'd be like,
And I think That's that. I think ultimately that's the goal, is to get to a place where clients are like, hey, just take me, let me. And I love that because there's such a freedom to that. Like that's where the creativity really thrives. And but I'm okay with whatever the route is. I love the creative freedom. I think that's a beautiful thing. And I think it, like you said, like, okay, just put anything on me. I think that's when you see for yourself what you may not have seen before, and it brings out something in you and you're like, I didn't even realize I could do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep. So, what are 3 to 5 things that you think people should consider when putting together their own personal style?
Um, I think they should consider, obviously, first and foremost, what's your budget? What are you trying to spend or not spend? And be really accurate with that. Because there are times I think we get caught up, especially on social media and
Yeah.
other people's lives. You know what I mean? And it's very easy to put ourselves in a hole and just, buy. And then what happens is you do that and you're really not happy with what you got, because it was really for someone else. So I
Yeah.
think it's be conscious about what you're willing to spend, and then set in mind, like, I don't think you need to have, and please forgive me because I have, like, my apartment is basically a closet. And so when I say this, I'm saying this so that I can pretty much help myself, but you
But
don't.
it is your profession,
Right,
so.
right. And most of it is like, that's why I have M. Dot Styles closet, because usually, like, my goal is to pull all my looks for other people from my closet. So it's basically, that's the goal. But for other people, you don't have to have so much. Um the goal is, because you got to think about what it is that you do every day, you know, and then set that goal for what you have to accomplish, like what's your work situation, what's your going out situation, what's your social activity situation, and then get pieces that are interchangeable for that. And then as you go along, add, I always say this, whenever you do something amazing, or you have, maybe it's a birthday, or you hit a goal, you got a nice little check because you did some, you just say, treat yourself. And then that's when you get that special moment, whatever that is, a nice coat, a pair of pants, a suit that you've been eyeing or whatever. And then you start adding that every so often, and then before you look around, you have built out this beautiful wardrobe that can last, the test of time. Because it's nice to have pieces that are trending, but those also tend to be not the best quality. You know what I mean? Like, and that's okay. I would prefer to get not the best quality trending pieces, and then
Yeah.
have the classics that are a little more expensive maybe, and those stay in your closet for a really long time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, what role does attitude play in
Everything.
style?
Everything.
Everything.
Um confidence, your attitude, just, it starts just waking up in the morning and being happy that you have another day to do this, right? And I really feel like, people underestimate that. And I say this, like, people that aren't in the business of fashion, they underestimate what clothes really do for a person. You know, I've had a couple situations in life where it's been, really rough. And one particular situation, I just remember um not caring. Like, and it's so funny, like, how you could think that a person could go through that, where you just walk outside and you throw on your sweats, and you just throw on, and you're just not caring what you look like. And it was actually my sister. She came to me, she goes, "What are you doing?" She was like, "What are you doing?" She was like, "This is not you. Like, fix it. Fix what's going on." And it wasn't about the shallowness of, you always dress. It wasn't that. It was like, you could tell there was a deeper intention. Like, I just wasn't loving myself. I wasn't valuing myself. And so I think that clothing can do that for you. It can give you a sense of value, and it can also help you, where when you do feel down on those days, it could bring a bright spot for you. So, choose things um that help your attitude, but also when you bring a positive attitude to it, Now you're picking colors. You're like, oh, I want to wear this pattern today. You know, it's a mood changer. You know, like once I put this on, things felt different. You know,
Yeah.
it is what it is on that.
Yeah. Um, so what have you recognized or learned about fashion over the years?
Mm, it's recycled.
Mm.
It's so
Yeah.
recycled. And
Yeah.
you know, when you get to a certain age, you're like, man, I had them pants.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're like, pull them pants out. But it's, and I, you know, I have a million stories, but it's funny because I love, so classic for me, like pants is always like a nice wide leg pant. You know what I'm
Uh-huh.
saying? Like, I think that that's, you cannot go wrong ever. So I had, this was like a few years ago, and I had like my wide leg jeans, and I walked into, I think it was like anthropology or something. And this young guy was in there, and he goes, oh my God, I haven't seen wide leg jeans. They must be making a comeback. I was like, a comeback? Like, this not like they never left. I know they were born in the 70s, but let me just tell you, they never left. Like, it's a
Never.
whole lifestyle, and it's one of the most flattering, you know, like pants to wear on so many people.
Yep.
So I just think that it, if you hold on, like fashion is always getting recycled in some way, shape, or form. Is really nothing new under the sun. When you really, and if you're an investigator of fashion, like do some history research. I have a lot of books too, and you look back and you're like, oh my God, this is being done now. It's just they're just adding like the twists and stuff. But I will add this: street style has really ramped it up a notch.
Ah.
Yeah, it's really ramped it up because you're seeing um things put together that you really never saw before. So when you have like this whole there's like a whole movement for sneakers that
Mm-hmm.
came straight from street style. You know, nobody was wearing sneakers like that. So you have street, you know, have sneakers with suits, you know, sneakers with dresses. They're doing the proms, they're doing sneaker proms. My
Yep.
son is doing his junior prom. They're wearing all of them, everybody's wearing sneakers, you know, so
Wow.
it became this culture, and that now is something that we'll see stay and that will get recycled over time, you know.
That's a really interesting point. Yeah,
Mhm.
that's true too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. So then what's your definition of fashion?
Mm. Fashion to me is defined, for me, is defined by something that's innate. It's it's when you see a person walking and you say, okay, that looks amazing, they look stylish, but they're wearing it. So when
Mm-hmm.
you wear the clothing and the clothing is not wearing you, I think that's a moment of fashion. I think fashion adds something to an energy that's already there.
Oh,
You know,
wow.
I think it brings on a certain energy, but I think that the energy becomes a marriage, and it becomes something that you kind of do together, as opposed to the, you know, throwing on a jacket and now you're swallowed up in it. So I think fashion is a part of the individual soul that comes out by the pieces that you pick.
Well, share with us any of the current projects you're working on or
Oh yeah.
what
So
you're working on right now.
yeah, thank you. So I started my company Scraps and Delicacies. Um I want to say it was like right towards the end of the pandemic. And it was so the name Scraps and Delicacies is a nod to our ancestors. So basically what it is our ancestors were given scraps of everything. So whether it be food or fabric or whatever, they were given the last of the last, basically the what you would discard. And somehow with their ingenuity they were able to make delicacies, and which we see now in food, in fashion. It's just is what it is. So I said, you know what? I started off by taking scraps of leather and making like these long fringe chokers, and they were like statement pieces. And I started making like these cups, and all of that was from scraps and leather, and it just grew. And so with that, I have the Scraps and Delicacies leather accessory company, and then now finally, after so much time, I have a line of kimonos coming out. So yeah, so for spring and summer, which is now, I can show you if you want.
Yeah.
This one. So what they'll be is for spring and summer, they're really light fabricated. It's like a polyester satin, really beautiful patterns, but they're reversible. So you'll
Ah,
be able to have basically two outfits in one. Um, and
I
they'll
was gonna
have,
say, so do you have one for us to see?
yeah. So, I'm sorry, say one more
I
time.
said, do you have one for us to see?
Yes, I'm about to take
Okay.
one out right now. So this is one of them, and so every print will be different. And so I hope you can see. I'll try my best.
Oh,
So these are the arms,
uh-huh.
body. So this is one side of it, and then and it has pockets on both sides.
Okay.
So when you turn it around, you wear it, and it's a different print, and then it becomes this on the other side.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah, so they're all really beautiful. They're one size. I'm starting off by doing pop-ups. Like I'm going to DC on the 17th, 16th, and 17th for two pop-ups, and
Okay.
I'll bring these and the leather accessories. So it's an interesting time. You know, it's something that, like I said, has been like a really long time coming, and I've always liked to do things based on what I love, and hopefully that people will follow suit and say, I like that too. I didn't think about that. Maybe I could do that. But it has to be something I'm really passionate about when it comes to fashion and putting something out.
Well, if you want to share with me, you can email me later the
Okay.
dates of your different pop-ups, and
Okay.
I'll put it with the post with the episode, and that way people can see when you might be around, and they can come by and check it out. I know I'm going to check out because I like that. I like that color back there.
Yeah,
I'm
no,
like,
and I have some. Oh my God! Wait till you see, Sherri. I have some really like. I really took my time picking out the patterns. I already have my fall and winter one done. It's a denim reversible. And I have a vest that goes with it, and it's denim reversible floral on the other side. It's really beautiful. And I wanted to make sure that when people wore that, they felt the quality in it. So like these are some of the leather cuffs that I make. Some are smaller than the others. Um, but I make them like literally. I was up this morning making these, and so everything is
nice,
handmade. And so
nice.
yeah, thank you.
Well, you mentioned summer.
Hmm.
Yeah, let me see those. Let me see that again. Let me see the blue one.
Yeah, the
What's
blue. Oh,
that?
and wait, I have so many. Wait, so this one, I have this one and this blue. So I have like a
I
whole
love that
blue.
color blue.
That no, and wait, I have other blues. So this is a little darker blue, but then this blue, my son is already claiming. He's like, "Mommy, I need the blue." I'm like, "Oh my God." I was like, "Hold on." So there's this blue. Yeah. So and all the leathers are really, I mean, they're premium, like premium cut leathers, really butter soft.
Oh,
And
nice.
yeah.
Nice,
So
nice.
it's been a road because I'm self-taught. So I just got up one day, I just heard a voice that said, just go cut some fringes. I didn't know what the heck I was I didn't know what I was doing. The fringes looked crazy. I cut my head. It was just crazy. And then I just stuck with it. And over time, it just got, better and better, thank God. So, so if I could be a voice of inspiration to people, like what you start out with, it may look crazy to you, but don't give up. Just keep going. If it's your purpose, it will automatically get better.
Yep,
Automatically, if you just keep putting in the work.
yep, yep. So you mentioned earlier summer.
Yes.
It's basically it's almost here.
Yeah.
What should women be considering wearing, having in their wardrobe, especially women, let's just say 40 and over. And I know I'm one of these people, wear what you want to wear. Like,
I'm
that's
totally
really
that.
me.
Hmm.
But at the same time, there are people out there that think along those lines of, okay, as I've gotten older, or now I am this, whatever this age is,
Hmm.
I want to create this style for me. What are some pieces that they should be considering for the summer?
I think not just because I have them, but I love a kimono s. So it doesn't have to be a kimono, but something that you can throw on and it can go from brunch to night. And it's comfortable. It feels good on your skin. It's lightweight. So it, because it's hot, you might get hot, whatever that is, and you'll feel like you have something that's comfortable on and it's lightweight. And if you feel like you want to cover a little bit, or if you don't, you can throw that on and have like a little, denim skirt or denim shorts on or something like that. And it really looks good. So I always feel like that little cover up, in a sense, a kimono, something lightweight for the spring and summer, is always a good look, and especially in different colors or prints. That's because that's easy to add to something, so if you have, let's say, like this kimono, right? So you have the green print, and then you're like, oh, well, I have these, white shorts and a white tank top, or a white, pair of jeans and this white tank top. Once you put that pattern over it, it just changes the whole outfit.
Yep.
Really great accessories. I always love a really good blazer. And if you feel comfortable, you can do a blazer that has no arms, because it still gives you the same effect if you wear it like with some really cool pants and a tank underneath. And when I say a tank top, most people always think about a fitted tank top. Have a variety of tank tops. So you could have flowy tank tops, you could have fitted tank tops, all different colors. And that's so easy to layer and to just put on something. You could even put a vest over that, and you're still feeling like you're not sweating or hot when it's hot in the summertime. But these are just little pieces that you could add and make it easy and comfortable. Because one of the things you want to do is, in the summer heat, you want to try and find your comfort but still look fashionable,
Yeah.
and especially really nice. Like I love a platform, so a cute platform sandal, a platform sneaker. There's so many varieties of that now. There's
Yeah.
like, it's so much out there. But I think, and play with colors. I think it's so nice to, again, go for patterns and colors, bright colors, and mix and match. So you could do maybe a muted with a bright, maybe pocketbook, or a bright shoe. It doesn't always have to be everything bright, bright. But
I was going to ask about color. Like,
yeah.
what are some suggestions for for women who might want to incorporate more color into their wardrobe?
Yeah, I would say so. It's funny because I have a friend that she wears, well, not anymore, thank God. I think I converted her, but she, and stylish as all get out, but she was like, I just wear black. I mean, head to toe, black, black, black. And I'm like, girl, please. And she was like, okay, okay, okay. So slowly she started adding color. So I saw one day, she was like, look what I got, these really bright green, like platform, like slip-ons. And I was like, those are nice, and they really are. And once the confidence grew, I think that, okay, you know what, I could do this. So
Yeah.
little by little, she started adding, because she likes to wear scarves well. So she would add like a colorful scarf, like I said, maybe a crossbody bag is colorful and everything else is muted. Take it slowly if you're not a person that really is, keen on color, or hasn't really, walked down that aisle with color yet, but colors and patterns are really fun. And mixing patterns are fun too. You just gotta, and with mixing patterns, find the key colors in each pattern, and then match those, and that's how you get, you get a
Okay, because I was going to
pattern.
ask. I was
Yeah.
going to ask, 'cause some people do mix patterns. Like, what's the key to that right look
Yeah,
when
it
mixing?
has to be because you don't want it to look crazy, because when mixing patterns can get tricky, and you don't want it to be like a mishmash, and like, it can look a little off sometimes. So the key to the pattern mixing is to find the colors that coincide. So you could have like a red and a black and white, right, checkered, let's just say it's red, black, and white. And then you have a pattern that looks like waves, but the waves are red, black, and white. That can go together. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
once you find those colors in each, it really, like, that's a good fashion moment.
Okay.
Because that you're elevating now. You're like, oh, okay, I'm my confidence is on another level.
I made this work.
Right,
Yeah.
all right, right, right. I'm
I've been
patterning it
there.
right
I've
now.
been there because I'm one of these people that likes to try and mix and match patterns up, and
Yeah.
and I didn't even realize that that's really what I was doing was the color thing. Because
Yes.
when she said that, I'm like, oh, okay, that is how I was really kind of putting the I'm looking more at the pattern
But do you
versus.
see though, innately you got that. You see what
Yeah.
I'm saying? So
Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
something in you that's really, you're like, okay, this is my thing. But
Yeah.
it comes out without you even knowing it. So that's a going right back, like that's fashion to me,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, Sherry. Okay, so we're talking bathing suits
Okay.
because it's that time. Real
Yes.
quick, like, what should you keep in mind when purchasing a bathing suit?
Okay. I love that. I always talk about this. So what are you doing in the bathing suit? That's that. I just want to know what you're doing. Because if you're, it really is key. What are you doing? Are you swimming? Are you really swimming? Are you a
Yeah.
swimmer? Are you really getting in that ocean? Are you going to really be going for it? Like what? Because then you need to get a one piece that is secure to your body. It can still be flattering and it could be cut and because everybody's different. How they, some people like a really high cut or a boy cut, whatever that is. But um the goal should be, what am I trying to do in this? So if you're going on vacation and you're just like, I'm just gonna be sitting by the pool, I want to look cute. Well, are you tanning? Then you need to get a bikini because you want to get a tan that look, you know what I'm saying, as much as you can with the body. But then you could also do a one piece that has cutouts. So it really depends on what your goals are for this bathing suit. And then the next thing is, what's your confidence level? If you feel like, and let me just put this out there, I've done this at a younger age and I think I was like an idiot because because I look back and I'm like, oh my God, I had abs and I was scared to put on a like, please, people really aren't paying as much attention as we think they are.
Yeah.
And I think we miss moments of just living and having fun because we're so caught up in what other people may think. If if you have it and you're at that level, or even if you can fake it until you make it, get a bikini or get a cutout, one piece, whatever you feel comfortable in, and just tune out what's around you. Just tune that out, and if being comfortable means that you might need a cover up, do that,
Yeah.
get and get the colors again, patterns, colors that you like, and just really like go for it. I think for summer, go for it.
Yeah.
Look like a goddess on the beach or look like a goddess by the pool. Go for it.
Yep. Yep. Well, we're coming towards the end. I want to ask you this.
Okay.
For those who are interested in fashion as either like a side career or a second career, what advice? I mean, because you've been in it for a while,
hmm
like, you
hmm
know what I mean? What are some tips or what are your suggestions?
I always feel, if you have that feeling coming up in you for whatever it is, go for it. You have one life to live, and you should absolutely go for what your passion is. If you're really because we feel different when we're passionate about something. It won't let you go. You know what I
Mm,
mean? We
hmm.
we may let it go, but it won't let you go. It will
Yep.
always find its way back to you. So if you're experiencing that, I would say go for it. However, I would also say manage your expectations because um like most industries, it's a very competitive industry, and you it's really hard to make money in the beginning. However, social media has also played a really integral part in being able to kick off a lot of people's careers in fashion. But I would also say to people, what do you want to do in fashion? Because now there's so many things you can do. You can be a style blogger. You can be a stylist. You could be a lifestylist. You could be a personal shopper. You could be a creative director. There's a lot of different avenues to take. And I think narrow down what that passion is, and then every day get up and do something towards that. And then allow that to increase as time goes on. If you find yourself kind of fading away with it's probably not for you.
Yeah.
And it can be discouraging, but you got like, I don't I'm on social media every day. I know the importance of what we need to do. I have 3 pages but my personal page has more followers, but the other two pages are fairly new, and slowly the followers are creeping in, and
Hmm.
I love that, and it's coming in authentically, but
Yeah.
it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work to get one person to follow you, and the important thing is, where are you leading these people? So I get it, so we can't be discouraged by that. You just got to keep going, you know.
Yep. Well, that brings up the last question I have for you,
Hmm.
which is if someone were interested in contacting you
Yeah.
about work or, just to get in touch with you on style, like, how do they get in touch with you?
Yes. So they can actually email me directly. So it's MDOTSTYLES closet@gmail.com. They can also do m.styles on Instagram, and they can DM me there or message me there. And my other company, which is Scraps and Delicacies, and I'm also on Instagram, they can reach me there. And Scraps and Delicacies, I have a website, so it's www.scrapsanddelicacies.com. And it's also,
Okay.
yeah.
And I'll put all that information
Okay.
into so people can see it.
Yes.
Well, Marlene, this has been an amazing conversation.
No, thank
I
you so
love
much,
this.
Sherri. I love your platform, and thank you for doing this, because I feel like as women we need this, and we need people to know, like, we're out here doing it.
Doing it. It doesn't stop. We're not
Right. It
stopping.
does it does
You
stop.
might be ignoring us, but we're not stopping.
Right, right.
We're still doing it. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, thank you for that. Thank you for that. And again, I have had the pleasure of talking to Marlene Duperley.
Yes.
And I'm sure I'm going to have you back, maybe fall, winter, so we can talk some
Okay.
more.
Yes.
But thank you, Marlene.
Thank
And
you.
I wish you much success.
And the same for you, and thank you so much, Sherri.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Mature Allure. For more information about us, visit matureallure.net and get social with us on Instagram and YouTube at mature.allure, Facebook at @formatureallure, and Twitter at mature_allure. Till next time, we encourage you to stay positive, embrace who you are at every stage of your life, and always tap into your mature allure.